Perfect use case for the remote. I need to lift this and shuffle the forks to the right. This thing feels like it cramps this space so much now that there's not a giant table in the way here. But this was kind of the idea. It couldn't go under the other table. That was one of the many problems with it. Man, it looks so empty over here now with the shelf, but these brackets worked out really well. I'm happy with how these came out. I've been wanting to put a shelf in this area for years now, but there's all the complications of the stuff sticking off the wall, the width between the beams, and our whole offset bracket situation that we built last time actually worked out really well. We finally have a shelf. I got a few things to tidy up, so on and so forth. That's done and dusted. Table's pretty well there. It looks tiny in here, but that's the point, because we need to add a bunch more tooling. And this whole project, this mini series here, has been pretty much a monumental shift for me as far as my priority of use of space in the shop. So this is a 30 by 50 steel building, 16-foot walls. And for me, the priority's always been 50-50-ish, but probably more towards storage of parts and things like that. This has been kind of a 180 shift towards prioritizing tooling and capabilities over the ability to store parts. We can always find places to put stuff. We can always add external storage for parts, but we can't do that with tools. And ArcDroid CNC deal here is kind of a good example. I built this whole custom table where it folds down so it tucks up out of the way when you're not using it. The problem is I use this thing pretty much on an every project basis, far more than I ever really thought I would. And it's kind of time, and I think it's worth getting a dedicated table. That is one of the many tools we're going to be getting and setting up that kind of required this more or less entire refit of the shop here. We got a new table set up. There is some storage we're going to be adding here, but other than that, it's pretty much all about new tools, expanding our capabilities, which is why this area had to change pretty much entirely with the new table and shelf. So we have the same storage we had before, but with more space for all these new tools we're going to get. So anyway, point is, I got a few loose ends to tidy up to wrap this part up, get my mess squared away. The shop's a little bit of a disaster at the moment, and then we're going shopping. If you have to rely on someone else designing and making a part to do a swap or do something you want to do on a project, really limits you. I don't want to be limited. I want to be able to make our own parts and make whatever we need. And if this all goes according to plan, we should be able to do just that. So I'm pretty excited and ready to see the end result. This is the part we've all been waiting for, so let's get to it. Let's finish this out. All right, guys, before we get too deep in the thick of it, we got a lot to do. I want to talk to you about today's video sponsor, Trade Coffee Co. Now, if you've heard me talk about coffee before or Trade, you know I'm a big fan of cold brew. I'll tell anyone who will listen how great cold brew is. That's what I'm drinking right now. A lot of the reason for that is because it takes a lot of the bitterness and the acidity out of it. But something I've learned along the many years of trying to perfect my recipe, it's really important that the roast is meant for cold brew. And that is really what turned me on to Trade in the first place, was that all of their, I think they have like 15 different roasters who roast specific cold brew coffee. And that is a huge thing, because you can take the same coffee, hot brew it, cold brew it, it's gonna taste totally different. And I drink it, you know, as is, no mix-ins, as I like to say. Now I say all this because when it starts to get cold, I like to dabble in the hot brewing. Most of you probably are already there, but Florida, we're late to that party every year. But I decided to dust off the kit and dabble in some hot brewing. And let me tell you, perspective entirely changed. I guess all the coffee I'd had has just been, you know, stale-ish. It's probably been roasted for a long time, sitting around on the shelf, whereas Trade roasts their coffee to order. And dude, I'm still Mr. Cold Brew, but I'm excited to get into it some more when it gets cold, if it gets cold, Florida things. But anyway, that being said, obviously, I'm a big fan of Coffee Contributor Ron. If you're interested in trying it out for yourself, you can get 50% off a month subscription if you go to drinktrade.com/TaylorA with 2 R's. So that's drinktrade.com/TaylorA, 2 R's. 50% off month subscription. Great way to try it out. You will taste the difference, and you save a ton of money. Make it at home, and I don't know. I get some satisfaction out of having made it myself, and it tasting better than the $6, $8 cup coffee at the store. So that being said, we are out of time. As always, I gotta get back to work. Let's get to it. We got a lot to do in this one. Coffee's been helping me get through this. It's been an arduous process, but we're almost there. The fab area, or the fabrication corner, as I like to call it, is probably the area of the shop that I spend the most amount of time in. Out of every other area, even the lift bay, probably spend more time in the fab area. So I want to make sure it looks nice. We could have left this top uncoated, but it's one of those things. It would have bothered me. It would have got dingy over time, and yeah, I had to do it. Not to mention, just to stick with the theme, I would have liked to do the Titebond wood glue like we did on the new workbench as kind of a knockoff epoxy, but we need to do the top and the bottom. That'd be pretty time consuming, and I needed to paint the edge of this MDF epoxy top that we cut out of the old workbench from the fabrication corner. Gosh, that's a mouthful. So because since we cut it, it's no longer painted on the edge, and that stuff's like a sponge, man. You got to do like 10 coats to get it to actually look like it's coated. It's crazy. So we also have a couple other pieces of wood we got to chop up and finalize, and we can be done with wood for a little while. We got a lot to do, a lot of projects to move on to, and I'm not very good at being patient and waiting for paint to dry in general, across the board, but especially when I have a bunch to do that I want to get done. So luckily, having R2 and the remote to lift it up, we're able to lift it up and paint the bottom, which is actually the top. The bottom is where we want to put the extra time. You know what I'm saying? And that way, while the top was drying, do a little flip-flop, save ourselves some waiting on paint to dry time, so we can get into these other projects and get this done and move on. Whew. All right, well, I should probably open the doors before I fume myself out too bad, but everything is painted. 2 coats on the bottom. This is the top side. bottom. I scooted it over to get the rest of the top side. Yeah, and then these, super glossy because they already had a coat on them. The wood's just very absorbent, obviously, when you paint it. So it wants to suck in the paint, but since these had already been painted, kind of looks cool with the white frame. I think especially once the bottom pieces are on, boom, it's gonna look nice. We also got a bunch of new totes, but we've got, what would you say, fragile stuff lying around. So anyway, we'll pick this back up whenever this stuff dries. Oh, I'm a mess. Well, got a bit of a mess going on, but we finally got our foundation set up. I'm really happy with how both of these turned out. I'm glad we painted the top. Looks nice there. The paint came out pretty good for going onto wood. Huh, that rhymed. But I like the 45 corners. I just thought of it because these overhung. No problemo. We have a shelf. Big old shelf too. I mean, this thing's 2 feet deep. So we got that. We got the bottom of the workbench / the workbench in general. We got to decide what we're going to put where. I also want to add some wall storage, but that's one thing at a time. We need to figure out exactly where we're going to put this table. That's a big thing. It kind of depends on where our new tools need to go and more or less how we want to lay that out, which is going to be kind of hard to tell until we have them. So let's go get the first one. I was going to get it used, but everyone wants an arm and a leg used. Like, I say that, I know that sounds hypocritical because everyone, you know, says that, but like lately when I've been selling stuff, I think it's like I'm overpricing it or I'm at the peak. This might take a while and I'm selling stuff in 24 hours. So clearly I'm not super overpricing stuff, but these people, you know, it'll be some rusty, crusty version of something that costs $1,500 new and they'll be like $1,250. Bro, that's not that. Gotta take the work truck, you know? Oh, I love this thing so much. It's amazing what a difference AC makes on a vehicle as far as, at least for me, usability. Gotta shift down to third. I set the transmission tuning up to lock the converter in third, so that way when I'm towing my boat, it'll lock the converter on the back roads. Good old Harbor Freight. Yeah, I was between going all in on a heavy-duty gearhead drill press, but the size it would take up meant it would be difficult to ever get a full-size mill later on, which you can kind of use, you know, more or less as a drill press. But having a drill press is still nice because it's a lot quicker to set up. So anyway, still have the option to get a mill later on if we so choose. Say this thing does not feel super confidence inspiring. So 90% of the weight in this thing is the head of it. Jeez Louise. Get this just right. I gotta think about this. First piece, and I don't know where to put it. And I'm gonna steal this off my old one now. This is like an upgraded drill chuck. These are like $10, and in my opinion, definitely worth it. I've got a little magnet on it. That way you cannot lose it. Well, you still can, but. I use this for fabrication stuff, like doing exhaust tubing, but I could definitely use this one instead. Ironically, the first project on the drill press is kind of, you know, in a roundabout way for the drill press. I have this parallel jaw vise. I did manage to find the jaws. I didn't think I would. I didn't think I had saved them. It took some time, but I found them. And basically, I just need to see if this thing is going to work on here. That's what I originally got it for, my whole mag drill temporary setup. That's a good example of me not prioritizing tool space by trying to make my tools where you can easily set them up and break them down. But basically, this bench vise is much better for the drill press, so we'll use this other bench vise that's not as good for the drill press as our fabrication tool. You know, it's a really handy thing to have when you're fabricating exhaust and stuff, to be able to clamp tubing to the table and in all these awkward shapes. So get to use the drill press, try her out, kick the tires, you know, because we basically got to convert these tall aluminum soft jaws over to work with the bolt spacing on the other bench vise, because I don't have any more of this 3/8 thick aluminum. Obviously I could get some, but we might as well repurpose these. They work great. It's need to be made for the other vise, you know. All right, well, overall, that works pretty well. I've got some switchable magnets coming. I'll probably have to make a little bit of a jig to hold down on this and land flat on the table, but I think that'll work best to just be able to walk it down, unwalk it, slide it around, reposition it. But I gotta say, having a drill press, man, one of the simplest, kind of most, you know, everyone should have it kind of thing, shop tools, and took me this dang long, but we finally have a drill press, and I gotta say, worth it. Very excited to not have to hand drill everything. So, yeah, we need to get everything up on the shelf. I can't pretend like I didn't want a shelf in here anyway, but the idea is that the shelf claws back some of the space we lost from storage underneath the big old 4x8 table that was in here. So that way we have kind of equal space and things more organized. One of the things that was on the old table was this power strip, and I rehomed it to the fold down table, which is kind of the perfect spot for it because the outlets are back behind the fridge and they're both occupied. Well, now with the power strip, so not very easy to get to. Now we have some nice, easy outlets, man. Outlets are one of those things. Outlets and workbenches. You need those in as many places as you can in a shop. So another thing that we're gonna restructure while we're here, this is while you're there, while we've changed this whole area, is my scrap metal bins. I mean, talk about an abyss. This is these things. It is so hard to find stuff in these because it's a variety of things, from thin sheet metal to 16 gauge to 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch plate to tube to just about everything you can think of. And so I got these stackable totes to try to organize everything between the steel and aluminum scraps into their own bins. And again, I don't know if I've used the word organize before, but I keep things organized just to make it easier. I mean, the more organized stuff is, the easier it is to find stuff, whether it's tools or scrap material. Whatever the case, the more efficient you're going to be. It's like you got to take the time now, or I got to take the time now to organize it, but it'll save me time in the long run and be way more satisfying. Not to mention that these just kind of fit a little bit better under this table than having the two very large totes. So should work out well. We'll see. All right, well, as far as storage goes, this area is pretty well done. I do still need to come up with a way to mount these somewhere. That remains to be seen, but the main thing we need is our new tools. We got all our scrap metal spread out. Really happy with that. I found these totes online, and this is so much better because now things are a lot better organized. We've got 1/8 inch and up. Flat stuff there, square tube there, same with aluminum. Cause there was so much stuff between those two large totes that I didn't even know I had because it was so buried in there. So this should work out better. And then we've got these totes as well, just as an add-on to organize more things in the future. Always good to leave yourself space to expand, I kind of didn't do that with the shelf because I wanted to fill it. Like the vacuum probably won't stay up there. Some of the stuff might move around, but like our TIG welding rod, our hand rests. I actually put the vices from the table up here as well, because usually having all that stuff on the table, when you need to do anything large, it gets in the way. So just all that kind of stuff. The welding positioner, I actually put this larger 3-jaw chuck on it. It came with this little dinky one that you couldn't clamp any large tubing with. That'll make using that thing way better. So anyway, just all that kind of stuff up there. This stuff down here. We're getting somewhere. A few more things to do over here storage-wise, but the main thing is to go get the main new tool. And this is one that's time sensitive. I have to get it, but before I go get anything else, I need to put this thing together. It's it's one of those, man. But once we get that together, we can hopefully go get this tool. That is, I would say not necessarily what started this, but the biggest goal of doing this is to fit this tool because it will be a game changer. Hopefully this all pans out, but ain't nothing gonna pan out if I don't quit jibber jabber and get back to work. So where am I going? Let's get to it. Back to it. It's funny, for someone who's builds a lot of tables and has built a lot of tables just in the past couple weeks, I can't stand building any sort of furniture like this just because, I don't know, I guess it's the monotony of it and not getting the mental challenge of designing it myself. Luckily, I had these casters off the Milwaukee box since I switched it to parking casters because the casters that came with it were pretty flimsy. But I mean, the idea of this is just going to be for storage. We're not using it for tools, but these things crack me up. You literally have to assemble the drawers. I mean, I will say they made them in one piece and you bend the things up, but oh man, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying. I should make that a motto. I don't enjoy putting things together like this. I always dread getting anything that has to be put together with a million different pieces, but honestly, this thing's going together pretty quick. It wasn't too terrible. It's just, you know, I don't know. I like making my own stuff, I guess. So basically, we've got this big cabinet on the bottom. We got a bunch of drawers. Should allow us to keep things pretty organized. Oh man, that's going to be a buzzword for this one, isn't it? Organization. All the organizing. You know what? While we have this up, there was an idea some people had in the last episode when we finished putting this table together, and I like it. It might seem counterintuitive, but I think it makes sense. Let's see if this works, though. So I've had this whiteboard over in a spot by the door for years, and it's like one of those things where it's so in sight that I kind of completely forget it exists and never look at it. You know, I can write plans on it, and well, I guess if I flip it up, you guys would see them, but you know what I'm saying. I wasn't quite sure how I wanted to attach this thing because the frame would make it stick down and then you'd see it, and was able to pry that off and took a chance sawing it with a jigsaw, and what do you know? Jigsaw seems to be the appropriate cutting tool for a whiteboard. Who would have known? Who would have known? I didn't. This is new to me. Learn something new every day. Some of you will like this one. Oh, goodness. All right, sweet. That's pretty cool. That works out really well. Now I'll need to come up with something, you know, or actually, I mean, just put them in the dang drawer. We got a drawer right here. Sweet, so now we got a big old workbench. Fold it out of the way, we still got a workbench here, smaller. Or we can move that, have space, or we can have this down and move this workbench out and have it too. So it's very modular. I don't know exactly what I want to put in here. And it'll kind of depend on how things shake out with the new cabinets. But mission accomplished on this side of the shop as far as replacing the Milwaukee box with the mill and lathe, which we need to get those running too. So we got a bunch of stuff to do still. So no time for celebration, back to work. Thing I'm probably most excited for is a big, large, full-size vertical bandsaw. I'm specifically looking for a dual, like 16-inch. And there are a couple on Marketplace. The problem is, number one, they're far. There is one that's a little closer, but they're like, you gotta bring it on forklift. We have no way to move it. There's no more power in the shop. And all of the ones I found, you can't test them. It's like, well, it's, you know. So, yeah, that's what I was hoping to nail down today. Yeah, we gotta build some things. So I am going to rapid fire knock out some of these fab projects for these things that we need so we can, and then we'll see if we get a final answer on one of these bandsaws or a plasma table. Either which way. I more need the bandsaw though, so that's my priority. So jibber jabber, a lot of things to do, not time, you know, the spiel. Let's get back to work. Since we have a lot of fab projects to do, the goal is to not go down the rabbit hole, and this is one we succeeded. Simple, very simple brackets to hang up all of my squares, my speed squares. These are, as you can tell, I'm a big fan of squares. It's something I use day in, day out, all different shapes, sizes, standard and metric. You know, the big old 18-inch, 12-inch, 6, 4, you get the idea. I have a lot of squares, and previously they were attached to the end of the workbench, which was kind of nice. But also, you know, it was kind of tricky. It was like a puzzle to get them all in place. So this should work out a lot better where you can kind of see what all ones you have there and grab the ones you need and go. So I'm really actually pretty happy with how this came out for how simple and truly quick and dirty of a fab project it was. We've now got access to our squares. So after looking at it more, I think the drill press should be better on the far side, and we're going to need this space on the close side for the bandsaw anyway, so might as well try it out over there. Well, I'm proud of myself. I stuck to my plan there. That was about as quick and dirty as it gets. You can grab any which one, pull it out, pop it back in place. Let's see, actually I haven't tried it with the table here. Oh yeah, comfortably. But yeah, sweet. All right, cool, that worked out. This next one's definitely a little more complicated, but we'll see if we can get it done in a similar quick and dirty fashion, you know? I just gotta not go down no rabbit holes. We got too many projects to rabbit hole, right? Right? Now, you know, in my not defense, I wouldn't call 45ing corners not, you know, doing it quick and dirty, not going down the rabbit hole, but I just, it's my one hard and fast line when it comes to fabrication and making something, a square, box, steel, anything like that. I have to 45 the corners. I cannot do it with the open-ended corners. I just can't do it. So, you know, it takes a little more time, but I guess since I do it all the time, I'm a little more proficient at it or something. You know what's also not in line with quick and getting it done and just hammering it out is TIG welding. We talked about this. If you've been watching this series, we're on episode 4 now. We've talked about TIG welding versus MIG welding many times, and here I am. Did I not learn my lesson? No, this is a pretty simple frame, and my logic on this one is it's going to take me more time to grind down the big thick MIG welds than it would be to just do the TIG welding. So, you know, I'm trying to hammer it out quick. I didn't prep the material like I normally would with TIG welding, so, you know, we're compromising. It's a compromise. You know, I would have had to turn the MIG welder on, but yeah, we're already making use of the drill press, and I gotta say, man, I want to give some vindication for all of you who've been giving me grief about not having one for years and years now, because you were right. You know, it's one of those things I knew I needed it, but I just did not realize how much better it was going to make my life with drilling holes. I can't tell you how tired I am of hand drilling. The drill's tired of it, gets hot, starts trying to melt down in your hand. So yeah, anyway, point is, a little tangent, just it's drilling those holes, especially big hole saw holes, with a drill press that's already there and set up. I don't have to take up room on my fab table. What a game changer. For as simple of a tool add-on as that is, it's a... Moving on. This legitimately would have taken me probably 3 or 4 times as long to do with the hand drill, or at a minimum, twice as long to set up the other drill. Man, I am in love with this drill press already. I just was holding out because I want to get a mill at some point, a big full-size mill, and I can just use that as a drill press, but in reality, I'm going to want a separate drill press anyway, and that's why I decided to finally commit while we're here, doing all the new tools, you know, and changing up the entire shop. That was the big thing, is saving space for the mill by not taking up space with the drill press. But yeah, we're gonna try to speed run through TIG welding these. These are ones where I definitely could have switched to MIG welding them, but as I was already TIG welding them, I thought we might as well just keep going. You know, by the time I set up the MIG welder, which just means turning it on, yeah, you know, we'll see what we can do TIG welding and really give it a fair shake comparison by not doing all the other steps involved in TIG welding. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. Tried to do a bit of a speed run when it came to TIG welding these. I let this thing cure overnight, rarity for me. Normally I'm trying to install things while they're still wet. I keep thinking I'm gonna grab it and leave handprints on it, but we need to get that installed. But I wanna go ahead and get these painted up so they're drying while we're installing that. We got a lot of juggling to do. We got a lot to do to finish this out. So yeah, we need to paint these. There's something else I was gonna tell you. I don't know, I don't remember. All right, you guys are probably wondering what this was. I wonder if any of you guessed it. Oh, a little crooked there. Boom, trash can holder. Because trying to go up make some space. Check this out. I've been kicking the jack around a bunch because when it's here, getting the golf cart in and out and stuff's tricky. There's several things it gets in the way of, but there's not really a good spot up there. Normally when I need it back. So now, boom. Oh, I'm pretty pleased with that. I was gonna put a cabinet here, but then I was like, it's gonna get in the way of like the buttons and the cord and stuff, and then I won't have anywhere to put the trash can. Oh, I need to tighten the top one more, I think. I forgot to tighten it on the ledge. Okay. Actually, trash day tomorrow. I'm pretty stoked that the fit was right. It's always hard to measure when you have curves like that to get this dimension without doing some elaborate stuff, you know, just with a tape measure. Sweet. Kind of a 2-for-1 special. I'm pretty pleased with that. I'm pretty happy with that because it was a pretty quick and dirty project. Trying to get that angle right. But yeah, sweet. All right, cool. Moving on. Installing the next item on the agenda. We got back to work. Now, this is a project that I have thought about doing for years, and so many different ways I've thought about trying to fill out this area. It's kind of wasted space, but you also, you don't want to crowd it up too much because that's where the man door is, and you've got the lift and the bay door. So trying to skin that line, that happy medium of having more storage or even just more display, filling out the walls. They're not the, nicest looking things ever. And do all of that together with not cramping it up. It is such a fine line. So I've thought of a bunch of different ways to do this, and the biggest problem was this angled beam. But with the trash can project working out better than I could have thought, to be honest with you, that was a potential solution for this. And so far, I mean, they're level. The laser level says so. They're a little dirty. The paint was, in fact, not dry. Remember how I was saying I always installing things while the paint's still wet? Yeah, got fingerprints all over Mad's character, right? But more importantly than just finally doing something with this space, we just kind of have the perfect piece to go with this. The large table that this top came from, man, it was meant to be a floating table for all around the shop, and then it got pushed into the shop corner, and I drug my feet on getting rid of it because I knew I wanted to save the top, but I wasn't sure what I was going to be able to do with it. Obviously, we used part of it for the new table, but the whole idea was the new table smaller, and this is kind of the perfect way to immortalize these pieces, because a lot of these stickers I don't have any duplicates of, and when I put them on the table, the idea was that I'm going to have this forever. You know, I'm never going to get rid of this. So this is a great place to put them. And so there's a lot of memories there, and I wanted to make sure I could save them and, we'd be able to see them and enjoy them, I guess. So the benefit to this is it's kind of twofold, right? Now it is storage for sure, but it's more so for storage of stuff that looks cool. So instead of shoving it in a tote, it's up on the wall, and we get more storage. 2-for-1 special. I like my 2-for-1 specials. That ain't going nowhere. I guess I could Tite Bond these. That's what I'll do. I'll get some Tite Bond. I'll throw a layer over the top here, and then that'll smooth it out some. Just a little bit, not as much as we did on the table. Just enough to, get rid of the liquid nails left over. Sweet. All right, party on. This is what they look like from down below. Made a mess of our new trash can mount, but oh yeah, I'm real pleased with that, honestly. I've wanted to do something over on this side for a while because there's a lot of wasted space. Ideally I'll put the nice stuff, like a lot of the stuff that's up there now. Not all of it, obviously can't fit all those shelves stuff on there. You know what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. I'm gonna clean this up, and then I gotta tackle this because I keep forgetting about it. It's gonna feel so good to see it done. So let me clean, and then yeah. So this corner needs realistically a complete redo, but as I started, I realized I did not have enough time to do the full redo that I need to do. But the engine hoist has kind of become redundant now that we have the hook for R2, so I wanted to at least get it tucked out of the way so I can use this bay again. And yeah, I'll have to revisit this in my spare time. All right, well, I realize I don't have time to fully restructure this like I don't want to because we really need to. So yeah, okay. Well, before I really pack this place back in, I just want to take a second to appreciate it. So empty. Man, that feels good. I got rid of those boxes. Wow. It's my first time really taking a step back and, really looking at it. And wow, it feels good. Man, it feels good. So almost forgot about this area. We got our shelves. Not all squared away. They look like they're just chilling up there. We can put stuff up there. We got our floating trash can. I did take the trash out too because it's trash night. Yeah, so we've got this bit of leftover top and that bit, but yeah, we got this area here squared away. Got tons of space now in there. I still got to get those, like I said, get those swapped out. I want to put those pack out somewhere. So there's still a few things to do on the storage front, but this area is reasonably tidied up. Those boxes are gonna go, blah, 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 plasma table, you get the idea. Real quick, just last corner. This table, I do need to decide on the vise, so I'd love some input in the comments below. Where should I put that? I could just put it back on this table where it kind of was on the old table, but I don't know. This is the area without, obviously, the bandsaw. It really tucks it in. I mean, this thing used to be back here. So yeah, this area cleaned up nicely. Got a lot more space and room now. Got all our stuff nice and accessible up there. Yeah, this is nice. All our scrap metal organized. So yeah, I did track down a bandsaw, so that's good news. I'm gonna probably just have to make a dolly for it, but it'd be kind of nice to have a dolly for it anyway. So I might make a steel dolly. I just don't want to waste the steel I don't know. I'm hopefully going to pick that up at some point this week. But for now, we are effectively done with the shop redo. We've made the space. We just got to finish getting the tools, which is kind of another matter. So we'll get to that at some point. But wow, it feels good. Oh, man. Like I said, it's my first time really taking a look. So anyway, we're going to get back to work on the NASCAR Miata next. Let's get the last stuff in here and call it done and dusted. and put the golf cart in here, which I don't normally do. When I say I don't normally, I just mean if I have the green truck over here, which is what I'm gonna have to do. Is pretty much everything. You know, everything we'd ever have in here. Car in this bay, golf cart there, car in this lift. So yeah, I had to move the truck obviously so we can start working on the NASCAR SWAT Miata, which is coming soon to a YouTube video near you. Oh man, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I feel very satisfied, happy, relieved, all the emotions to have this place cleaned up. Like I said, I'm gonna bandsaw, ideally plasma table, ideally there's like one other thing I can't remember. Might be two other things. There might be a few other things. Main ones, bandsaw, plasma table. I'm gonna try to finish collecting that stuff while we work on this other stuff, and then once we have the stuff, we can kind of set it up, you know what I mean? Something like that. That's my plan. I don't know, plans change, things change, but my plan for sure, start back on the NASCAR SWAT Miata build, because I got a bunch of parts in it. Make it a car again. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see you for that. But I am slap out of time. I'm way out of time. I gotta go. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I will see you next time. It's gonna be a good one. Thanks for it's good hanging out with you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Goodbye.